Hey everybody, ReefGrrl here, and welcome to ReefGrrl Live. I am so happy you could make it. The whole idea here is to have some fun, chat, get some questions answered, maybe show off what you're doing, and get to know each other a little bit better. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. The stream is about to begin. Hi everybody. Wow, there are a whole bunch of people in here already, and we have 8 watching from what it looks like, and you guys have been chatting away for quite a little while. Hector dropped out. He was just in the waiting room there, so I'm going to go through the chat and say hi to everybody, and then I have something to show you that I'm going to try and make a regular feature on the stream, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. So, who was first tonight? Tony Close, UK Reef. Hi, Tony. T40 is here. Hey, T40 Reefer. Click Clacks Reef. Nice to see you. Dell's Reef is here. Calypsos Reefs. Hey, Hector. Who else have we got? You guys have been chatting away. Wow, Kimber Reefs. Thanks for coming in tonight. Broke Reef Man 45. Welcome. Let's see who else. There's Benny Fernandez. Hey, Benny. I hope everyone's keeping safe. Straight Reefer is here. And who else? I think I've got everybody who's here just now. Let's see here. Oh, there's Alex Gs Aquarium. Hey, Alex. Glad you could come along tonight. Blue Carbon Reefing. Hi, John. Congrats on the 1,000 Instagram, and I know before long you'll be at the 1,000 YouTube. It sneaks up on you. Diver Down Reefer is here. Andy H. Hello. Okay, this is great. So you guys have been chatting. That's wonderful. And I'm going to watch for anyone to pop in the studio. I did email over 30 invitations to past guests, and if anyone wants to join in, the link is there. And if any of you who are watching would like to come on in, here is the email link. You just send me an email at reefgrrl@gmail.com, and if I don't notice you or acknowledge you, please drop a comment in the chat, and hopefully I just delayed in seeing your request. So first things first, before the lights go off, here's my tank. Oh, that looks like horrible, doesn't it? This is on my iPad. Oh, I know what it is. It's the green screen that's doing this. That's my Wise Cam. Let me just take the green screen away and see if that improves anything, because that's pretty how do I do this? Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, let's see if this is any better. Is that any better? No, that's actually probably worse. Oh, well, I'm looking for a way to show you guys my tank while we're doing the stream. And I'm going to have to work on that one, because obviously the whole green screen on the Wise Cam on the iPad obviously didn't work. So, okay. Sorry about that. Oh, I think we have a few more people have come in. Skookumchuck Reefer. Hey, Skookumchuck. Chimp the Reefer is here. And yep, Hector, hello. The thing I wanted to tell you about is that ATF in the house sent me a whole bunch of short clips of his reef tank, of things that he have going on in his reef tank. And you might remember several weeks ago we were discussing he had to frag some toadstools, and there was a little bit of a discussion in the chat about if anyone wants a toadstool frag to hit him up. So he and I were chatting a little bit, and he sent me these short clips of his tank. So I put them together and made a little 30-second movie, and I thought it might be kind of cool if we could do this on every stream, where if you guys want to send me short clips of your tank, or even of a couple corals or something new that you got, it could even be photographs, because I can put photographs together and I can make up a short movie of maximum 30 seconds. So what ATF in the house did was sent me 4 or 5 clips that were each 6 to 8 to 10 seconds a piece. I'm just going to put his channel name up here. And I put those together because they're so cool. So now, here you go. Introducing a fellow reefer. Let's, I don't know what the name for this should be, but you guys can maybe come up with something. Reefer of the week. I don't know about that. Tank of the week, maybe, or I don't know. Maybe you guys can come up with something. But anyway, here is a short movie of what he sent me. Those are his toadstools. I think that's the weeping willow. It is amazing. And this is a couple of the babies. I guess it's frags that he has already cut from it here. And then we get into just kind of a shot of the center of the tank. And this is just gorgeous. Just absolutely beautiful. So this is the tank that ATF in the House has. And if any of you want to check out his YouTube channel, I know he does have a YouTube channel, but I didn't have time to check whether there were a lot of videos there, so I do apologize for that. I'm going to get right on top of that for the next one. So anyone who wants to maybe be on next week's stream and have your stuff featured, just send me an email, reefgrrl@gmail.com, with a couple short clips, bearing in mind I have to get it down to 30 seconds to stay within the guidelines of the streaming service. That's the maximum video I can show you. I guess I could make 2 videos. That might work. But anyway, if you're interested, just, you know, let me know, and we'll see what happens with that. I know you can't fool me. I know there are a lot of absolutely amazing tanks out there. So for any of you who maybe are reluctant to come into the studio, or you're shy or whatever, I totally relate to that. And this is a great way to show everybody what you have. You don't have to make a video, you just have to get some short clips, and I'll do the rest. Okay. All right, let's see who else has come in. There's Hector, Diver Down Reefer. Yes, it's a Red Sea Reefer XL 425. That's correct. Hey, Anna Maria, AM Dunn, can you talk about any help with red flatworms? I'm going to throw your comment up here while I say hi to everybody else, and we'll see maybe in the chat they can give you some answers. I've never had red flatworms. I've had the ones that are commonly called pumpkin seed. They're kind of a pale beige, pinky beige color. You don't mean Acropora eating flatworms? No, there's a specific red flatworm you're talking about. So who knows? Maybe there's somebody in here tonight that can help you. Hey, Reef Keeper, how you doing, Phil? I hope you're staying well. Braveheart Reefer 525 is here. Hello. Reefer feature. I like that. Kimber Reef suggestion. Reefer feature, yes. And it doesn't have to be just one. I can make several and kind of scatter them throughout the live stream. But I just think it's a great way to see what people have, because there's some gorgeous stuff out there. I'm sure we know. I have the tiny ones. Flatworms, yeah. Yeah, I think I might have had those at one point too, but the ones I've ever noticed are the larger pumpkin seed ones. Hey, Hobby Sai, nice to see you here. That's awesome. Oh, Diver Down Reefer also has an XL425. Yep, Straight Reefer says Calypso got his tamed. Yeah. And Reef Keeper says flatworm exit. Follow the directions exactly. Might need a couple of treatments. I've always used flatworm exit to get rid of those types of flatworms, the ones that I was talking about. And it definitely works, but it does, if you space out the treatments about every 10 to 14 days, you can pick up the eggs, because there will be eggs that will hatch out in that sort of time frame. So as soon as you treat them, they go away. You see one, you treat again, because there's been a new hatch, and you might have to do it 2 or 3 times. Flatworm exit, Hector says, Calypsos. Hey, American Reefing. Thanks for coming by tonight. Wow, we're up to 32 people already. That's just awesome. Everybody's saying hi to each other. That's good. Yep. Anna Maria got them in from a frag. Got them from a frag. Yeah, it's, you know, no matter what you do, if there are eggs, there's going to be bugs. And you, unless you really, really are experienced with it, it's hard to recognize the eggs. And the only way to avoid it is to quarantine coral. And when I have the new tank, I'm going to keep Mollywood, and Mollywood's going to be a quarantine tank for coral, because maybe a frag tank too. I don't know. I haven't decided. But although if I get a pest in on a coral I'm quarantining and I give it to a frag, I'm just going to give a pest to somebody else, which would not be good. So that's not a very good idea. Thinking out loud here. Sorry. Forget that. Anna Maria says, thanks for the help. I can do that. Yeah, that flatworm exit stuff is the thing. Oh, Phil is still trying to get all of the acro-eating flatworms. Yeah, Phil, I've seen your posts on Instagram showing the colonies and things that you've had to pull. It's got to be pretty frustrating. I can only imagine. Oh, there's Alex G in the waiting room. Let's bring Alex in and see what he's working on tonight. Hi, Alex. Hello. You didn't have to wait long tonight.
Oh, I was trying to get my phone charged up because this tends to drain the battery pretty good.
It does, especially being all of the using the screen time. Cool. So I hope everybody's staying safe. It's a crazy time right now. Oh, Anna Maria says she's going to start a quarantine tank. Yeah, it doesn't have to be huge. It just has to have light and flow and heat and, you know, keep an eye on it. It's hard to imagine setting up another entire system, but sometimes that's all you can really do. It doesn't have to be a big system. Benny says he got some bumblebee snails a couple weeks ago, and now he's out of vermeted snails. What next? Well, I believe they will clean up uneaten food as well. They're carnivores. So I've seen mine just going all over the place at night. I threw 6 or 7. I think it was 6 in the big tank, and I still have all 6, and I still see them out every night cruising the rocks. And when I fluff up my sand, I have far fewer webs than I used to have from the vermetids. So I'm pretty sure they did the trick. So Benny, if they work for you, that's awesome. Oh, there's Tina's reef. I'm here just making masks. Tina, did you get your surgery? I hope you did. I hope it went well. We have people here in town making masks as well, and they've been sharing patterns, and there's all kinds of controversy over whether they're acceptable by the hospitals and blah, 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 but I think it's great that they're doing that, because from what I've heard, there's starting to be a trend towards people need to wear them. And yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. So that's good, Tina. Glad to hear that. Oh, Tina, no surgery. They called it off 12. Oh my God. Wow. Well, I really hope you get it soon, because that's got to be hard to deal with. Anyone? There's a question. Yeah, no kidding. Have to wait till it's all over. Well, it's probably going to be safer too for you. Kim is asking, if anyone has had excessive diatoms due to possibly high silicates in source water. I haven't heard of that, but I know that they do. When I did the reading when I had them, I know they do consume silicates as a food source. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But we have a lot of people who know in here tonight. I'm sure somebody can help you with that. Tony Close quarantines everything, and he still found an Aptasia in his main display. Yeah. All right. Blue Carbon Reefing is in this waiting room. We got to bring him in. John. Hey, John. Yeah. Is that for effect, or are you actually that worried about getting infected in your house?
No, I'm actually, I got my new frag tank. I'm about to paint it.
Ah, good
Can
idea.
you hear me?
Yep.
Ah, the good old Bristolium. Can't go wrong there.
No.
Well, we're cleaning the house up to get things ready to move, and my husband unearthed an N95 in the basement, and he used to have to wear them all the time on his job when he was working. But the best we figure is at least 15 years old, and it has been used. So Calypso says that they benefit from the silicates, diatoms. Yeah. And I don't know, you guys probably know a lot more about RO systems. Are there membranes and filters you can get for silicates? Or are regular systems supposed to be able to remove them? Either of you guys know?
I think there is a particular cartridge you can get with some kind of medium for it, but I would probably want to know if it's the type of silicates that's actually can cause a problem, because some of them, while they could be there, don't necessarily cause an issue.
Yeah.
The only experience I have with this myself is my very first saltwater tank. I always had horrible red slime problems and stuff, and in part I always blamed it. I had all silicate-based rock. It was all different types of pumice stone.
Oh.
And that's why I don't go with silica sands, whether or not it was the cause of it. It was also a crazy high nitrate problem too, but yeah, I just tend to avoid rocks that have it. But whether or not it's actually causing the problem in the tank, I mean, you could try and get some silica filters. They're generally like a pre-stage filter on an
What was that?
RODI.
A silica
It'll be
filter or diatom filter?
silica.
Silica filter. Yeah, Kim says her sand is pretty much always orange/rust, and she changes her silica buster cartridge every 3 months.
I mean, sometimes you're just gonna, like, so I'm pretty late in the day here. I mean, I got a little touch of brown or orange on my sand, but for the most part, it's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to suggest about that. If, like Reef Keeper said that Salifert makes a silicate test, and I'm pretty sure I have one, but I don't know whether it'd be expired by now, because the problem I had with diatoms was probably at least 5 years ago, and that's when I looked into it all. Yeah, that tank was probably about 2 years old at the time, so although diatoms are associated with the early stages of a cycle or the mid stage of a cycle, they can also come back. And I don't know, Kim, maybe did you add new or uncured rock to your system? Or I know you have the lagoon. Did you put any new media in the back that perhaps was generating, or, where the diatoms kind of come as part of a stage of new rock becoming seasoned? I don't know.
Yeah, something else too is, are there any? Do you have any macroalgae or anything growing in there that can help suck up some of the other excess nutrients too that might feed the diatoms?
Yep, yep. Calypso says, I'm pretty sure everyone reef looks like Alex tank. Sparkling clean. The fish look like they're floating in the air. The water's so clean. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the glass is actually slightly dirty right now. I actually saw a very interesting post someone made on Reef to Reef this week, where they had a small tank and they were like, well, I see micro debris floating around and I want to get rid of it. And they were trying to add different filters and getting opinions to add a lot of, different filter medias. And I guess as someone that doesn't use filter socks, except for the two I have that grow sponges in them, and just the skimmer, I let all that little stuff float around. I kind of thought that was an interesting topic of, is all the little micro debris floating around in there something that's just, an unsightly thing, or does it have good benefits, like a kind of a natural marine snow?
Well, every night when I put the flashlight over top of the tank to see what's going on with the acros and everything, I've always got stuff floating around in there. And the reminder video for tonight's stream, I captured some after dark polyp extension on a couple of my acros. And in one particular segment of the video, you can clearly see there's white specks floating everywhere. Well, I get that several times a week. And I don't know what it is, but I can't help but think maybe the polyps are out trying to catch it. So it's quite possible it is beneficial. And when you think about some of the advice regarding euphilia, especially, say, torches from Australia and cataphilia, the elegance corals, they really benefit from turbid water because that's their habitat. So if that stuff's floating around like that in the tank, it could quite possibly be a benefit, I imagine. I don't know. We've got Acro Breeder. Hello, Acro Breeder. And Marcus's Reef is here. Wow. Johnny Martinez. Hey, Johnny. Glad you could come in. We are up to 38 people now. Holy smokes. Must be Saturday night on during a quarantine. Kim is also asking whether diatoms long-term will harm anything. Her tanks have been up for 2 years and she's almost always had diatoms. It might be her well water. Yeah, it might be worth trying a test kit just to see, because I guess it's like anything when you try and diagnose and troubleshoot, you kind of make a list and rule things out.
Well, long-term harm on something is a rather difficult thing to judge too, because if, on one hand, I mean, so if someone were to say red slime algae is, bad with having cyano or diatoms in a tank, will it harm things if it's present? And, if the corals are still doing well and it gets restricted to some certain areas, I don't think it's going to really harm anything.
Yeah, it's just unsightly.
Yeah, I think now the imbalance that might be causing it to get out of control is generally what you need to kind of try and find out what's going on there.
Yeah, so I guess if you can rule out the source water, then for sure there's something else going on.
Yeah, and the only other way I could think of doing that, I don't know how accurate, I haven't ever read much on the Salifert silicate test, but I know some of those for more of the exotic elements out there are not the easiest to do, and their results can be a little, how should I put it? Inaccurate.
Unreliable. Yeah,
unreliable. That's a better word.
Yeah, well, I think it's fair to say that, because the problem is the person doing the test. It's not the test. It's that because we vary from one time to the next, the results could be unreliable.
Yeah, and it almost might be one of those things where you need to do an ICP test and have the tank water tested and some fresh salt water tested and see how they differ, just to see if it is your source water, it should kind of show something up there, at least in terms of the levels should be the same in some of those elements. But then again, there could be something else that's getting thrown off that is present in the tank and you're just not aware of.
Definitely. Yep. AZ Reefer. Hey, I guess I'm supposed to say AZ Reefer, because apparently Z is the Canadian way to say Z, and Z is the US way to say, or the American way to say Z, right? Hey, AZ Reefer. He says it might be worthwhile to do an ICP test to Kim. That's what you're saying, Alex. So yeah, it's amazing what you can pick up from an ICP test. And the one thing I would say is if you see stuff that looks like it's way out of range, don't automatically assume your tank is going to die, because sometimes the stuff just doesn't matter. It just tells you what it is. Not all of those elements make a difference in the overall health of your reef. And if you see anything that's wildly out of whack, it's a good idea to sort of do a little bit of research into just what the impact of that is. Like lithium is a good example. A lot of ICP tests come back with very high lithium, and it turns out that that's almost regional, where it has got to have something to do with the water. So it's one of those things. It's like anything in this hobby, you have to apply it to your own situation. Oh, Alex, is that an Astorina right at the front? The clownfish was trying to clean off the glass for you?
Oh no, she likes to bury my mushroom rock here because she likes to lay her eggs on the bottom, and no matter how much she pushes sand away and digs everything up, and I try to fortify it with rocks, she'll still dig it up.
Oh, that's hilarious.
She's a character, and I still think it's funny that there's actually 2 sea anemones in there now, because it from when it split. So
yeah, wow. Hobby Size says if you're doing regular water changes, the TDS of the Rhodie comes out to be 0. You should try some bacteria supplements. Dr. Tim's Prodibio will help your tank a lot, increasing biodiversity. Yeah, I have to agree with the increase in biodiversity. And Alex, that's what you always talk about, because what you have in your tank, based on being able to acquire some actual real live rock and not necessarily trying to eradicate stuff from your system.
yeah, I'd agree. I mean, it could never hurt. I am actually culturing a bacteria right now, which I'm thinking I will eventually introduce into my system. That I want to try growing it and experimenting it for a little while first.
So, if you're growing bacteria, do you do this in petri dishes in a controlled environment, or how would you know that it stays viable and it's reproducing and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I got it in little auger vials that I picked up from a supplier.
Oh.
So I don't think this is gonna work right now, but hold on. We'll try. There's a reason that I have this bacteria and I'm trying to cultivate it. Let's see.
Yeah. Hey, Ugly Man's Reefing. And Hobby Sci also has a comment. Even if your ICP values are good, you can still have diatoms and cyano. Yeah, because really it's largely imbalances of some type somewhere, as Alex was saying. Mad Dogs TV, hello. Chimp the Reefer. Wow. Nice to see everybody.
Yeah, I can't see it right now, but it's a bioluminescent bacteria.
Oh, cool. So, John, Blue Carbon Reefing, you are working on a frag tank, is that right?
Yes, I am. This is frag tank number 3.
Wow. Soon you're going to have Blue Carbon Reefing store, frag store.
Maybe, eventually.
So, John, I meant to ask you, what's the origin of your channel name, Blue Carbon Reefing? I've always wondered.
So blue's my favorite color. I think when I was looking for a name, carbon is an element in all living things, and blue carbon is supposed to be all life in the ocean. So nice. I don't know if you ever heard of the Blue Carbon Initiative, but when I was searching for a name, that's what my research fell upon, was blue carbon.
Oh, nice. Interesting. I think it's a great name.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep, blue carbon has some serious stuff going on, that's for sure. I think John, you're gonna have to become my sensei when it comes to a 300-gallon with a basement sump.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about all kinds of stuff to do with how to set this thing up, and I have to get my head around what it's going to involve. We've been so busy with getting the house thing arranged that now that we're through that, and they have declared as of today, residential construction is non-essential unless there's already a footing poured for the foundation. You can't continue until the restrictions are relaxed, and I believe we're in that category. So there could be a large delay in getting our house started, which is okay because I have the 90-gallon setup. I put mollies in it today, and the more time I have to get that thing matured, the better, because I am terrified of moving my entire reef over to a different tank. So I'm probably going to be asking a lot of you guys for advice on how to do it, and like, I'm thinking of doing this. Is this a good idea? Because I haven't got a clue how this is going to go.
As someone that's had to do it personally and professionally for some time, you're going to be in for a fun ride.
Oh yeah. Yep. Well,
Yeah,
and with all, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I was wondering if this whole pandemic thing would cause delays.
Yeah, well, we just signed on Tuesday, March 31st, and the closing date we were given was November 4th. However, they won't have applied for the building permit yet, which means it's highly, well, we know they haven't dug the hole because we drove by the lot. So, yeah, I think we're going to be delayed, but I don't know by how much. It could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months. It's very hard to tell. But the longer I have to get that other tank matured, the better. Even if it's only an extra month before we move out of here, then it's a pretty scary prospect, because of course it's always going to happen when things are going well, and this tank is almost, well, I've had it for 3 years, but as of May 29th, it'll be the 3rd anniversary of the start of the cycle. So it's too bad, but I just have to think that going through all of this will be worth it. I'm going to convince myself of that. Sharbuckle's Reef is here. Hey, Sharbuckle.
All right,
asked. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm going to feed my fish, but I'm just going to prop the camera up so you guys can watch.
Awesome. Hobby Size asking if anyone has picked up the new Red Sea AB Plus Reef Energy. He's doing his first feeding. I haven't, but maybe somebody in the chat has. So John, how many gallons is this frag tank? Oh, I don't see you. Oh, there you are.
I'm listening. I was just having you on mute. I think it's about another 75 gallons. It's 4 foot by, technically it's 23 inches by 16 inches tall.
Wow.
Somebody
And
can do the math.
Are you plumbing that into the rest of your system?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like having it separate. Just quarantine separate, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, because that way you know everything's got the same environment.
Yeah. It should look identical to that one, except I didn't want to move my mixing station in order to put it next to it.
Oh, right. So you're putting it on the table you're working on there?
Yeah. So it's going
cool.
to, essentially I'm going to probably key off from this 300-gallon.
I think you might have your finger over the microphone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're going to tee off your...
Yeah, I'm going to tee off of that. So right now, the 300-gallon tank is draining into 150 Rubbermaid.
Wow.
I'm going to tee off, and then it's going to... It's sitting right next to it, so it's basically go and then it's going to drain into the 150 Rubbermaid on this side. Craziness, right?
Yeah, we couldn't really hear you, but I think we got the idea there. Nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this on my laptop.
Yeah, it's hard. So are you painting the bottom then? What parts are you going to paint on the frag tank? The bottom?
Everything but the front of the glass. So it's sitting on the front right now. So I'm going to paint the 3 sides and the bottom black.
Oh, cool. Okay. And then you can just look into it from the top or the front.
Right. Yep.
Oh.
Because this one, and I don't know with the blues, but this one's the same way. It's got, black Rust-Oleum paint on the bottom and the 3 sides, the back and the 2 side panels, and the front's open.
Yeah, that looks very sleek.
Yeah, I mean it's covered in coralline now, but I have one of these urchins in here who actually eats the coralline. It's crazy.
Oh. Oh, Alex is feeding the big fish. I'm going to pop Alex up full screen for a moment. The puffers. There's a lot of food in that tank, which is good because there's also a lot of fish in that tank. Acro breeder John is suggesting that you paint it white so you get better par on the frags. Yeah, I always wondered about sand, whether that's another good reason to keep your sand clean, because it gives you that extra reflection and it increases the bounce around of light.
I'm sure glass period will reflect, whether it's painted black or white. Maybe white would reflect more, but I don't know. I've never tested.
Yeah. The back of my tank is black. It came that way, and I've never changed it, and I actually really like it. The last one I had was blue, and I felt like I had to keep it clean for it to look good. Whereas with the black, I don't mind so much that it has a coat of coralline and all that other stuff on it. To me, it looks more natural on black than blue.
I will say I think the colors of the corals, especially for a frag tank, will pop more with a black background.
Yeah, yeah. And I just noticed Alex's one spot fox face has the center of his face between his eyes. Yours has a white. It's completely white, right? Mine has a yellow stripe in that spot. Like it's white, but right in the middle of the white is a yellow stripe. The first time I saw it, I thought it had injured itself or it just didn't look right. And it was just starting to turn yellow, and now he's got this yellow stripe down his nose.
Yeah, he doesn't want to cooperate right now either. Ooh, don't try to take stuff from the clown trigger, everybody. Should know better than that by now.
It's got teeth.
Well, the other triggers, they every now and then like to say, oh, let me try and take a taste of that. And I think the only ones that intimidate him now are the puffers.
Oh. So who has bigger teeth, the triggers or the puffers?
Oh, that's a... I'm trying to think who would do more damage to me if I was bitten. And while I would really be concerned if the porcupine puffer got a hold of a finger because he crushes things.
Oh.
They have a big bone that's further back. Like I don't know how well you guys saw, but I mean he basically took a whole cocktail shrimp and bit it in half and swallowed it whole.
Yeah.
And then the clown trigger though, I can hear the teeth. Like he snaps them, and the dog face could probably do some bad damage too. But I mean, even this guy came up when he was still pretty new, and he nipped me once pretty good, and that was not pleasant. But luckily, he doesn't. The Picasso doesn't have teeth as bad as a couple of the others.
Wow. Yeah, I always wondered about the harlequin tuskfish because those blue teeth are, of course, one of the things that really make it interesting.
They're more for show.
Yeah, because they don't look like they're like hard tissue. They look softer somehow.
Well, they because harlequin tusks, like a lot of wrasses, they like to pick things up and move them, and that's a little bit of where they kind of get the grip on their teeth for, is picking up objects or gripping things like little shrimps and stuff.
Yeah.
This guy's gonna be one that I gotta keep an eye on too, because he hasn't turned into a meanie yet, but.
Oh, is that an undulating trigger?
No, I'd never get one of those.
No.
I had one once.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Long time ago. Never again.
So does it start with a D? Something?
It's a blue line trigger.
Okay.
So they tend to get
a different fish.
Yeah, undulated triggers have kind of a similar pattern. I actually think the undulateds they're one of the nicer triggers, but they are really mean fish. But they are cowards when it comes to being around people. For as mean as they are shy about people, even when they'll kill everything in a tank. They don't want to be seen. So I can't say that about any of my triggers right now. The blue line's he's usually pretty good, but he's just at a size. I just gotta keep an eye on him. He's got plenty of space, so
yep.
I'm hoping he doesn't become too bad of a troublemaker. Even the clown trigger, he does really not like my one rabbit fish there. He really doesn't like that guy sometimes, but. He nips at him, but the rabbit fish just throws his spines up, so it's kind of a mutual understanding.
Yeah, détente.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. DKH is here. Hello. Hector says, awesome, we have the two reefers with the biggest fish rooms together in the stream. Blue Carbon and Alex G. So true.
I gotta ask John, have you done curbside service over at Cherries yet?
Curbside isn't like picking something up and they bring it out to my truck?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Yeah, I just talked to Brett, so they're busy.
Yeah, I'm sure they are because people are sitting at home on the internet.
Yeah, actually, the streaming service put a note up to say if we have any interruptions or problems because of the unprecedented levels of traffic, there have been the occasional times when there have been outages on YouTube, just briefly. So if we lose contact, don't worry, we'll start it up again. Oh, Kimber Reefs has a question. Does Alex name any of his fish? He's got so many and they're beautiful.
So I do not name my fish, but my wife does.
Ah.
So this is the porcupine puffer is Lardy.
Lardy.
And then the dog face puffer back there is Dr. Evil. I think those are the only two that she's named for the moment.
That's
I think she was
hilarious.
trying to call the Niger Trigger Fang or something because he's got those teeth that are hanging out. But
And what are Niger triggers like in? I guess you have it in your Fowler tank because they're not reef safe.
they're kind of on the edge. You know, he does have more of an inverted mouth, similar to, oh, why can't I not think of it? Oh, geez, why can I not think of the name of that trigger? Boy, the name of those things are escaping me right
Oh,
now. I mean,
the blue throat.
yeah, blue throats. That's it. I got
'Cause
blue
those are the
line in
ones.
my head, and I'm like, blue line's not right.
Yeah, those are the
But
ones people seem to keep in reefs, is the blue throats.
yeah, they tend to be a little more docile. And I mean, like, I had the little guy in there, my little flag fin, and you know, he started getting to be a little aggressive punk. So he found out real quick he isn't so tough after all. But I mean, I always found Niger triggers tend to be fairly easygoing, like a blue throat. He kind of minds his own business. I mean, they're a beautiful fish. I mean, I never seem to. The ones I've had, I mean, he's probably doubled in size since I got him because I got him pretty small. But when they get a little bit bigger, man, they are just gorgeous. There's a lot of color in them
Mm-hmm.
As they get a little older. But
My favorite is the pink tail trigger. And
I have considered one of those. They are a pretty one. I just haven't seen a appropriate sized one.
Yeah, you have to start pretty small, and I would love to have 3, but I know the risks. So I don't think 300 gallons is big enough. 72 by 42, I don't think is big enough.
Yeah, it's just, you know, and one thing is about fish that I've always found is that, you know, like the blue line trigger, for example, a lot of people look at those and go, that they get really nasty too. But a lot of the stories I read about them, it's like, well, what size tank did you have them in?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they go, well, they were in a 180, and they had a lot of tank mates, and they don't have space, and they get pushy, and you know, can't really push stuff aside. So you just never know. Some of them are just mean, you know.
Yeah. And as individuals, I mean, some people are just mean. So you know.
I mean, that little flagfin trigger, when I removed him from my reef tank because I had him in there as a little experiment, I put some new wrasses in and stuff, which, you know, generally wrasses, not a whole lot messes with them, and he just hated them. I mean, he was chasing and nipping, and I was like, really? So that's why that rock's in there. Well, actually, he was on another rock.
Your scape is set up. I mean, it's like there's a new aesthetic now with aquascapes to create those habitats for fish, where you have caves and overhangs and sight line interruptions, so they can establish territories and they won't see the other guy at the other end of the tank. That kind of stuff. And it used to be a big rock wall going straight across the back, and that's one of the reasons I never really thought about getting a big tank, because I'm not a huge fan of the giant rock wall. And when I built my aquascape, I wanted fish to have room to swim, and so it's terraced kind of low at the front and higher at the back. And I feel like my fish are already too big for the tank. I only have 11 fish. They're not all big fish, but they're starting to interact with each other a lot more as they approach their adult size. So it's a bigger tank is not going to come too soon for those guys.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too, like I actually have considered doing some more lower level rockscaping, uh, just to give some more smaller areas for some of the small fish, and even the medium sized one, because everybody seems to generally get along. Uh, the tangs don't really ever seem to bother with each other much. The angels, um, the emperor angel and the annularis every now and then get a little bit of a grumpy match against each other, which expected, but uh, it's yeah. I spent a lot of time trying to think how I wanted to aquascape, just because
Hmm.
once it's in it, I had to cement things together because I was afraid of something falling. So,
Oh, is that a bird wrasse?
oh yeah,
Beautiful. Love those things.
yeah, I've had him. He's one of the almost one of the originals in this tank. So
Nice.
he's always been doing pretty good. The one that always surprises me is this the mimic tang.
Hmm.
So that's an orange shoulder, and he's
Oh,
pretty much just yellow.
wow.
And when I bought him, he had the traditional kind of gray and brown half and half pattern with that orange shoulder, and he has gradually become more yellow.
Oh, maybe he's a hybrid.
I almost wonder if part of it too is some of the company that he's kept with, because he got the big
Oh,
rabbit
yeah.
fish, he got a yellow
Yeah.
tang,
Hmm.
like Pyrophorus tang in here, somewhere in here. There he is.
That is a beautiful fish. And what did you say it was?
Oh, the Pyrophorus tang, or the chocolate tang they call him.
Chocolate tang? That is gorgeous.
Let's see. Of course, now he doesn't want to come out and say hi. That's the one thing that I still, even with all the fish I have, there are some that I like. My blueface angel tends to be pretty shy, and he'll be kind of like gone, and I'll be sitting here for 5-10 minutes and not see him, and then you start getting that kind of lump in your throat, going, "Oh no, where are they
Yeah.
at?
Hmm.
I haven't seen them." And then all of a sudden they pop out, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Yeah, that's been happening with my Aurora gobies. I lost the original pistol shrimp, Geronimo, so I got another one. It's very tiny, but the gobies probably were in there for close to a month without. No, I bet it was more like 2 months before I got another pistol shrimp. And I don't know whether they ever paired up with it. And the only sign that there is still a pistol shrimp in the tank is the back left corner is a huge mess all the time. Sand everywhere, rocks moved around. That you know what they do. They just reconstruct. They're always building. And every once in a while I hear a snap. But it's probably been well over 2 weeks since I've seen uh, an Aurora goby, and it was probably 3 weeks before that. That was the last time we saw both of them. So I don't know whether they're living behind the rocks and I'm not seeing them. They're not coming out to eat at night because they're getting enough through the day. I'm not sure, but every night I look with a flashlight because I was always target feeding them at night, and they would come out because the shrimp is working away overnight, and they would eat. And it's been ages since I saw them, so I know how you feel. It's like, oh, it was so cool. They were doing so well together in the burrow with the shrimp, all living together, and it's just, I guess I'll find out when I move that rock structure.
Yeah, it's odd with that. And I know, well, my one sister's her Watchman goby, when I found it in her tank when I was taking it down for her, she's like, "Oh my god, it's still alive." She's like, "I hardly ever see it." I can kind of see his head in the center, but I want to get a pistol shrimp for him, but I was actually trying to get my local guy to get one for me, and unfortunately, everything happened, and it was like, not gonna be able to get anything right now. So
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Tyler D. Welcome. And there is Useless Reefer. What's up, y'all? Late as usual. That's okay. Oh, there's the hawkfish. My hawkfish is still going strong.
it's so funny because I go, I probably should have put the flame hawk in the reef tank and the long nose in here since it's twice the size of that one. But I always worry that a trigger is going to go after him one day, but they just never really seem to care.
Well, they can't see red. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I mean, sometimes he goes right out in the open, and I mean, I hate to say, but he's kind of an easy target for some of these fish, but,
Yeah. Yeah, because their swimming ability is not that great.
And he likes to perch high, and a lot of times he'll perch up on the overflows and stuff. So he'll go through the open water.
And just watch. They love to watch what's going on. It's my favorite fish. He'll sit in a corner and just kind of, all that's moving is his eyes, and they stay still for quite a long time, too.
Yeah, let's see where the big guy's at here. He's always, by his favorite spot.
Yep.
Hanging out
We saw him when you originally came on. I noticed him. Wow, big fish. Holy smokes.
He's bigger. He's longer than my blue tank is right now.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a big boy. He's happy though.
Well, he looks like he fits in with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem to mind anyone, so. All my Royal Grammas have been doing well. They got a new little harem established, so.
Nice. And how many did you have? Was it 10?
Well, originally I had 5, and then they kind of slowly whittled away down to 1. So then I added 4. Yeah. I got 3 more. So I got myself up to 4, and then I tried to add, I don't know, I had a total of like 8, and then one of them didn't make it after a couple of weeks, but the other 7 are still doing good. So.
Oh. Yeah, they're pretty. Tristan's Reef was talking about, was it Tristan who dumped a whole bunch of damsels in? 40 damsels? The yellow belly blue? I forget what they're called. They're the ones
the
that are
Azures?
they're the one. No, it was a different name. They're the ones that are the least of a problem. They do look like that. Is that an azure damsel?
Yeah.
What's the scientific name of that? Do you know? Does it start with a K or an H? Maybe it's the same fish, but I thought, what a great idea, because what he said is all of the aggression and the messing around pretty much gets distributed through the entire group, and they tend to leave everything else alone because they're fighting amongst themselves, but there's so many of them that nobody really gets picked on.
Yeah, they each have a territory in here. So that you got 1 here. There's 1, 2, 3. All right, where's 4? 4's around here somewhere. I stick my hand in the tank, they attack me.
Really?
They bite.
Wow.
Actually, I don't know if I had 4. Maybe I just had 3. I can never remember. Oh, too many fish. There might be a 4th one in here somewhere. Oh, there's a 4th one, I think.
Kim says, so many fish, I only have 3 fish in my 2 reefs. Hey, JV Gwaltney is here. Diacanthus Reef.
Yeah, I think my next challenge, I'm going to do Anthea. I'm going to try and get a a shoal of Antheus in here
Mm-hmm.
to kind of cap this tank off with fish.
That would be beautiful. Now
Although
they hang out in the higher levels of the tank, do they not? Or I guess maybe it depends on the
they
type.
they will. I mean, like this, the one lyre tail I have. I mean, he's always out in the current. They like to be in that flow, kind of not right on the rocks, but kind of hovering in that plane above them where little stuff floats by they can nab.
Yep.
So I really want to get a bunch of them though, but again, there wasn't availability on what my local guy said he thought were nice ones, and I
Mm-hmm.
won't do. I'm not going to get Bartlett's, and I'm not getting Purple Queens. So. One's
Hey,
mean,
Drama
and
D. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the Bartletts are mean and tend to kill each other, even in big tanks. And the Purple Queens they're not at a care level that I want to be at.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about Antheus is the level of care that they need to keep them healthy, just because they're sort of opportunistic feeders that need a constant supply because they're so active all day long. Hey, Diacanthus Reef, Drama D. And we have Twins Reef. Twins Reef says he just woke up and was scared he was going to miss the stream. He or she, sorry. And I think Tyler D, I don't know if I said hi to you earlier. And there's Camaro Kid. Yeah, it's looking really nice, Alex. Just how it's all filling in is just amazing.
Thank you. Oh, it's definitely coming along. I mean, the SPS is still a work in progress, but a lot of what's in there has been growing well. And other than a couple of little hiccups, I don't know if it could be seen well, but my Macedon, my Barney had a little bit of an issue on where it was encrusting. So, but I think I know what happened there is that there was a mature limpet snail next to it, and I don't know if it might have chewed on it a little or what.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Either
And
way,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm looking at the size of a lot of what you have in there and thinking to myself, yep, when that stuff takes off, it's going to be crazy. But what you have is probably already larger than what I have that I think is big. I guess it's relative to the tank size, right?
Yeah, this acro colony is. I'm very proud of this one that it's just gotten so big and all the growth on it, and it hung out through the hard times here, and there's a second colony of it there, and a couple frags in the frag tank. So no,
Nice.
it's just I've been hesitant on them, and I got a few more SPS coming next week, so most of it's all in here still.
Right. Andy H has a question about your overflows. Are they Durso with an air inlet?
Nope. So they pretty much just drain into there. Try and get this up one-handed. So there's nothing fancy on them. They'll suck air in on their own sometimes, and then I do have this is vented here for air, and then it's also vented here, and this one I have more sealed up. But yeah, so whatever air it kind of intakes on the natural overflow, and then I just make sure I got it regulated with those vents so it doesn't back the water up.
Right. Nice. I am taking all of this in because I'm still in the really early stages of just trying to figure out precisely how I want to run the next tank. Hey, Sean's Fish Tanks And Camaro Kid says each coral Alex has is bigger than a 10-gallon tank. Well, you have the space, Alex. So
Yeah, a lot of them aren't.
that's
A lot of them aren't crazy big, but like I said, this one it's bigger than a hand, so 8-10 inches across, and that guy's probably a good softball size. So, but there's a lot of real estate that I still need to fill in.
Yep. Oh, well, but the corals, I mean, I thought mine were far apart until I started having to frag a couple of them because they were going to touch each other. And that happened in the course of probably less than a year. Let's call it 8 or 9 months. It just went so fast. And Kimber Reef says, being able to walk up and behind those big tanks is so cool. I agree. I want a walkway when I have a big tank, only it'll probably be in front.
Once you get a walkway, you never go back to anything else.
No, exactly.
I just saw somebody that was doing I think it was like a 700, and they had it up against the wall, and it was 4 feet front to back, and I was like, ooh, you're gonna really want that, because someone's like, you're gonna have a hard time reaching the back of that, and then someone's like, oh no, I got long arms. I'm like, I mean,
well,
if you crawl on top of the tank, I guess.
Yeah, if you could lay planks across and lay on them. Hey, AL. Go ahead.
My display is 30 inches tall, and I can't reach the bottom.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad I went with the 24 on this, although I do love the look of the 30-inch.
Yeah. That's
I just have to use grippers a lot to try to pick up stuff on the bottom.
It's one of those things where you stand in front of a tall tank and you can immerse yourself. It fills so much more of your field of vision that it just feels more all-encompassing in some ways, where you can't see past the edges. But realistically, it's so much harder to look after those really, really deep tanks.
Yeah, I'd love to go 48 inches tall. I'm just,
No.
There wouldn't be a way to get around. You're going to have to get in every now and then.
Yeah, go diving.
I would go 48 inches wide before I went 48 inches tall.
Yeah. Well, and you have to think about how you get them in place. I mean, I know, Alex, you built yours in place. And really, for some of them, if the dimensions are too big to get through a door, that's the only choice you have.
Yeah, I think before I move, see, the little guy's already trying to bite me.
That is evil.
Yeah, I told you, they're mean. He does not like me over here. I don't know how you can see it. This is a pulsing sinularia. So
That's cool. I saw a golden colored that looked like a zinnia, but it was gold.
Oh, that guy?
That right there, yeah. Is that a zinnia?
No, it's why did it say
Spicularia?
No, it's fireworks anthelia.
Oh,
or
an
not,
anthelia,
no,
okay.
not anthelia, clove polyp.
Clove polyps, okay. Really pretty color.
Yeah, this is my gem right here. It does not show up well, but it is actually pink. It's my pink stereodiptia. So
it does look pretty.
This is my yellow one. Not that you can really see the yellow because it's not really fluorescent. Yeah, it doesn't like the Biota Palau green sinularia. I actually cut it back because this one actually started moving away.
Oh, really? Yeah, they do move, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, part of it I think was flow, but it just started it started leaning over, and I'm like, you're covering the pink one. So.
Camaro
Then,
Kid says Alex has more livestock than my local aquarium, and they charge $18 to get in.
it's funny. People have asked me if I'll charge admission.
That's hilarious.
I've
Oh,
heard that
Twins
too.
Reef has. What's that, John?
I've heard that too, that I should charge and do tours.
Yeah. Twins Reef has a question. Have you guys ever come across digitate hydroids? If so, what's your experience with it?
Well, I do have forms of hydroids that live in here. There's so many of them. I don't know. I'm going to assume like a digitate one's probably one that's a little bit larger and has a bit of a colonal structure. And I've never really dealt with them a whole lot. I think I had them on one frag of zoanthids a while ago, and I just dumped some Aptasia X or F Aptasia on them. But I did just looking through my microscope, I could pick up a little piece of rubble, and I bet there's some hydroids on it. It's not stinging anything. I wouldn't be too worried. Or they're not spreading everywhere.
Well, the digitate ones, are they colonial in the sense that they spread really fast across open areas?
I don't know. I'd have to look them up because I'd never had that much experience with them. So.
Oh, here's Drama D says, no more broadcast feeding. Remove by hand as much as possible. I had a nasty outbreak of branching hydroids. Yeah, I have this stuff that looks like if you saw it in the forest, you would call it lichen. And it's kind of a fuzzy gray color, and I know that it's not Montipora eating nudibranchs because I now know what they look like, and they're also fuzzy gray bits of dust with legs. But these things grow in areas that really don't get light, and they are really like a gray lichen that grows over the rocks. I have them down in sort of the areas of my Duncan that are under the heads where the branches sort of come out from each other, kind of in crevices. I've never seen any dieback of coral beside them or any issues that might look like these things are attacking them, but they just look really sort of I don't know, messy, as if you need to take a baster and blow them away, but that doesn't work either. So looking them up, if you start putting descriptions in, you can't find anything. Like if you put lichen in a marine tank, you get nothing like that. I've not ever seen a picture that looks like what I have. So I'm kind of wondering if they're hydroids, if I should do some more looking.
Probably the best bet would be to take some pictures of them at scale, and then you'd have to try and get them under a microscope.
Yeah, maybe I should try and get some out. But you know what, Alex? I'm afraid to get a microscope. We've talked about this. It would be dangerous for me to get a microscope. Hey, ATF in the house. He says, looking good. How's everyone doing? Hanging in there? Yep, we're under the stay-home order where I live. Although you're allowed to go out and get groceries and prescriptions and what's the other thing? Go to the doctor. Oh, Twins Reef says they killed most of my zoas and been a hard fight with them. Yep, so Drama D suggests to avoid the broadcast feeding and starve them out maybe. Oh, look at that. It's encrusted on the egg crate.
Yeah, I kind of went a little overboard and waiting for it to grow a little before putting it in the main display.
What
Alex,
is that?
what is that one?
It's not a PC rainbow, but as I recall, it's some form of a rainbow. It's not bright enough for a PC one, but It was some other one. I got it from Brett a while ago. And then that's a Dark Knight, a Pink Cadillac, and then it's a Strawberry
Pink lemonade?
Shortcake or a Cherry Limeade. That's a Voodoo Magic that's healing because I think I got it angry, so it's coming back. Pikachu, Bonsai, and then Arc Fireworks. One of them might be a Merlin Staff. There's a couple off my colony. I got a few things going.
Looking nice.
I mean, I got a lot of frags that I haven't even put it back in the big tank yet.
Wow. And are these ones that you pulled out when you were having all the problems?
Some of them, there's a couple, like my bounce mushroom. Since it's recovered, I've just kept it in here. I should put it back, but it's been happy, so I'm not wanting to move it. But, you know, like, I probably got 20 corals in here that I bought them and never put any pieces into the displays yet.
Do you ever feel like you don't want to put them in there because the fish, namely the green wrasse that I have, that's the one that stops me putting a lot of stuff in, because that fish goes after everything. And I just think, if I put this in there on the sand, I'm going to be it's going to be upside down 20 times a day. So I tend to sort of avoid, like, put off as long as I can before I put stuff in, just because I don't want to deal with it. Do you ever get concerned with your fish doing that?
I guess it wasn't as much fish as it was, like, after my last, like, SPS crash and coral crash over the summer, I've been real hesitant on SPS. And I kind of, you know, like, some of the things, like the free care I got, I decided I was like,
your free care is way fuzzier than mine. Mine has much shorter tentacles. Maybe it's not getting enough light.
Well, I got my other one in a little bit lower, but I was like, you know what? Instead of just putting this in here, I'll grow it out first, and then I'll put some frags in. And then, like, well, I just got that mind trick. Say something, John?
No, I was going to say my laptop's dying, so I'm going to be in the chat, but I'm going to jump off.
Okay. Thanks for coming in, John.
No problem.
Yeah,
John
I got
Martinez. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I got a few things in here.
Your collection. I guess you're going to be cutting pieces of egg crate and mounting them on your rocks with the zoanthus on top, right?
I might have to, because a couple of these started out as I'll just grow it out a bit, and a couple of them have gotten pretty wild in their growth, and I'm kind of regretting letting them go like that. But
although when you think about it, you have the perfect opportunity now to avoid putting something in your tank that's going to take over, because you've seen what it's done here.
yeah, some of them are in the tank though too.
Oh,
like
okay.
the Nirvanas. The Nirvanas, I've been trying to. I got another 2 whole rocks of them, 3 rocks of them. I've been trying to weed those things out of my Zoa garden, because they just got too aggressive in their growth.
Yeah.
But no, I think the next time I do this, I might go with a piece of acrylic so I could scrape stuff off a little easier, because I think a lot of these it's going to be cut the egg crate up because it'll just be easier.
Yeah, you'll either end up poisoning yourself or killing them, because they'll be torn to shreds trying to get them off there.
Yeah, I'm going to agree on just cut them up and cut the other stuff up. But, like, that's a good example of my Vamps and Drag there. This is like the third time I've tried to have these. I love the color on them. But every time I put them in the other tank, they never did well. So, but now they're growing, so I'm not going to complain.
Johnny Martinez has a question for all of you Apex people. He has a new Apex EL, and the pH probe is reading low. His Hannah and Red Sea test kits show 8.2. The Apex shows 7.8. I think he means calibrate 3 different 7 and 10 help. So
Yeah,
he's
you
tried to
gotta
calibrate it. Yeah.
might have to do a couple calibrations on it. It depends too of how old is the pH probe. If it's brand new, or is it like used new?
Yeah, he says it's a new Neptune Apex EL. So does that come with a pH probe?
I don't know that particular one. I would assume it does because generally Apex comes with a pH probe.
Right. So really, I guess the answer is just try and keep calibrating it until you can.
If you can't get it after a couple
right
of tries, you could try having someone else test the water, or try out if your LFS. Well, that won't be easy to do now, but have somebody else with an Apex and swap the probe. But
I will say about calibrating pH probes that it took us a couple of times to learn, because in our house it's a 2-person job because of where the probe is compared to where the actual display is. And you really do have to wait long enough for the reading to settle, to stop moving. Because even if you think it stopped moving, then all of a sudden it starts moving again. So making your calibration or the adjustment on whatever is used, if it's a screw or whatever it's used, I don't know, I'm not familiar with Apex, but on the American Pinpoint it's a screwdriver, so making that adjustment too soon is where you run into trouble, because it's taken us up to, I want to say, 6 or 7 minutes for the reading to stop bouncing around. And even if it stays the same for like 30 seconds, then all of a sudden it starts moving again. So I don't know, maybe it's just a matter of calibration technique, if that makes any sense.
no, I agree. It could be that, and it could be a probe issue too. It's not impossible that that's not part of the issue as well.
Yeah, John confirms that it does come with a pH probe. Hey, Rob's Aquariums, how are you? Michael Lee has a comment in here. Thoughts on grafted digis? I don't know if I've ever seen a grafted digi. I have a couple of grafted plates.
I don't know. I've got a grafted worldwide coral grafted Bonnie coming next week too.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen anything else successfully grafted as that though.
I'm imagining a grafted digi would be taking something like a bubble gum and grafting it with a forest fire, that you could actually see the difference. Because I have bubble gum and red, and the difference is very subtle between the two of them. The red is definitely red, the bubble gum is definitely pink. But if you grafted them together, I don't know how easy it would. I don't know. Interesting. I've never heard of them. Is Michael, is somebody selling them online, or has somebody been doing that? Yeah, he says yes, like a red and green. So Michael, are you trying to do that, or have you seen one and you're just wondering if anyone's tried to grow them, whether they stay distinct like that? Okay, things have quieted down a little. I think maybe it's time to show the gratuitous grandson picture, since I have not been within 6 feet of him for probably a month. So here he is. Look at him. Wow. He's a cutie.
Cutie.
Yep. He's going to be 3 months old on Easter weekend. So thank you all for tolerating my grandma-ness.
I
Go ahead.
I was gonna say my my wife has been upset because we can't see our nephew that just turned 1 back in Michigan. So
Yeah. Well, I was staying there for a couple of nights a week for the first, I want to say, month and a half of his life. So it's pretty hard to be wrenched away and really not. It's not a good idea for us to go there right now, just because you don't know who's at the grocery store that's, not been careful, and it's just too big a risk to take.
I would
I
agree.
like the comments. About the grafted digi, he said his friend Ben at BSA has a colony and it's quite striking. Oh, okay. Hey, Michael, if you ever were able to get a picture, it'd be pretty awesome if you could get a picture and email it to me. We could put it up here and get a sense of what that actually looks like. Oh, you guys are nice. He's so cute. Rob's Aquariums, his daughter just started crawling. And John, Blue Carbon Reefing, says his mother is dying to see her grandbabies, but it isn't worth the risk. No, it isn't. Not right now. That potato chip coral is getting really big. That's a pavona, right?
Yep. Actually, it's one of my, just from its styling, it's one of my favorites. That cool pattern it has.
Yep. They form beautiful colonies when they get big.
Yeah, this is my so there's my freak hair that's in this display. So when I had my coral crash, I lost that was on the fire or Christmas tree rock I have. So I decided to try and experiment. So I put the freak hair on here to see if it'll encrust.
Right. Well, I really like it, and it's on a rock at the side of my tank, and it would have been the size of a quarter when I got it, and now it's probably, I want to say, almost as big. It's on a rock that's a little bigger than a golf ball. So it has really grown, and now it's grown down to the sand all around, and I would love to be able to put it on a piece of rock so that it could grow further, but I don't have anything that I can actually do that with. Oh, we've got somebody in the waiting room that we haven't seen around a lot. CJs Aquariums. What do you think, Alex? Should we bring him in?
Oh, of course. I think you should hit him with a question, though, for fun.
The troll question. All right, here he comes. Hey, CJ,
Hey.
What are you up to?
I just happened to see the stream was up, and I was like, you know what? Let me hit this email and pop in.
Nice.
Just for a moment, because I haven't, done anything for a while. I've been doing this isolation, so,
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be getting to people.
Yep, but figured I'd pop on and show the tank. It hasn't really been a lot going on. I realize I haven't done an update or anything, probably like almost 2 weeks, so.
Yeah, a lot of color in there. Looks beautiful.
Looking nice.
Yes, I haven't done much to it. I guess this is that good boring that people look for.
Yeah.
People don't understand what I mean by that, but
Oh yeah.
when things are just chugging along. But I got a couple pieces from a mailbox. A local reefer gifted me with a few pieces. I had to swing by and get it from his mailbox for social distancing.
Yes.
But
Exactly.
So never had that piece before. That is a Space Invader chalice. So I've seen the Space Invader pectinians, but I've never seen a chalice before.
Yeah,
Space
it's that
Invader
electric
chalice.
green and yellow.
Yeah. So they got these 4 pieces here. It's a piece of red planet right there, and then this is some bird's nest. So I got to figure out where I'm gonna put those guys at and get everything else going. But yeah, we got cores encrusting like that. Those SPS cores are starting to encrust now.
Nice. Well, we've been. I got somebody in the chat that's wanting to do a troll question, so I guess we should do a troll question.
Sure.
Right. Okay. All right. So, do you know about this? Have you been in here before? I can't remember.
Yeah, I've been in here, but I don't know about a troll question though. That part.
Oh, all right. Well, okay. So, yeah, these glasses don't really fit with
Are you talking about the question where you asked me something? Yeah, I think you asked me a question before, but I didn't know if it was a troll question. It was just a question.
Okay. It's the question about. Oh, okay. Somebody sent me something on Insta about grafted digi. I'll have to look at that in a minute. Well, we're going to ask a question just to kind of as an icebreaker, but I know you don't really need an icebreaker because everybody knows who you are and what you're up to. But let's just see if you know. So, in the last 12 months, do you know how much you've spent on the hobby over the last 12 months? You don't have to give me a number because that, I don't want to cause no divorces. I've said that before.
Honestly, I think I've spent not that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've gotten lucky with this tank. I spent a lot more money with my 120 gallon than I did the JVJ. Maybe $1,000, maybe something like that.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't have to tell us, but
yeah, it was. I'm just thinking. I think that may be even less than that. I've been lucky.
Yeah.
I kept a lot of equipment, and
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you kept a lot of stuff that would. Because you knew you'd be doing a tank again at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I kept a lot of stuff, and I was able to secure a lot of sponsors and stuff too. So that also helped.
Yeah. Yeah. But, no kidding. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna see what I can arrange for the next build.
Definitely do it because
it's gonna take a five-figure budget to get what I want, and and
the bigger the tank,
producer
the bigger the expense, for sure. But so is that the troll question? I thought you all had a better question. Hit me with another one.
Hit you with another one. Okay. Think of a reefer. No, actually, no, I'm not going to say that. I got a better one. What did you learn? Think of your most frustrating reefing experience and tell us what you learned from it. Because we know you've had frustrating reef experiences, like most.
Where do I start? Should I rank like a top 5 or something? I don't know.
Yeah, hey, go for it. Top 5 would be awesome.
I'll start off from the beginning. My very first mistake was my very first reef tank, getting Chato from the LFS, putting it in my tank, looking at something that ended up on the glass in my sump, and I was like, that looked pretty cool. What is that little thing? Looks like a little anemone. And it was my first introduction to Aptasia. So, okay, mistake number 1, that's years ago. All right. But I haven't had Aptasia in any of my tanks since then, honestly, at all. I've been lucky.
Yeah.
But I would say most recently is my journey through cycling a tank, which should be elementary for people that have been, in the hobby long enough. But using the wrong type of bacteria to start off the cycle, and then fighting with getting the right type of bacteria to colonize the tank, losing livestock, losing stuff that I shouldn't have lost. It was just a headache. So, I think that was my most recent frustration, but we're past that now.
Yeah, sometimes you have to learn the hard way.
Yeah. So that's not too bad. I guess it could be worse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dumping skimate in my 120 gallon and killing some of my acros. That also was a bad mistake.
And what did you learn from that?
Learn from that too. So yeah.
Hey, Gabe's Reef Tampa, welcome. I think producer Reef, I said hi. I saying hi to everybody. We're up to 38 people still. Wow, on a Saturday night. So how are you holding up with all the isolation, CJ? Are you working from home or you still going to
Yeah,
work?
I'm actually working from home. Here goes my little workstation right here.
Yeah.
You guys probably can't see it, but yeah. So work little temporary table, Home Depot fold up table. Actually, that I used to aquascape. This is my aquascaping table that is now my work table. So
Yep.
right by the tank. But yeah, to be honest, I'm lucky and blessed to be able to still work.
Yeah.
Work from home and keep the kids home and all of that. But yeah, the isolation definitely is not cool at all.
Mm-hmm.
I would say mentally, me personally, if I was to be honest, it's tough. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
It is. Especially I got some
Not
stuff
alone, man. Not alone.
Yeah. Plus I had some
Yeah.
stuff, family stuff crazy happened this week. Lost two family members within 48 hours of each other. It was a whole bunch of craziness, man. So this isolation is real. It is a real test. It's probably why I haven't really updated the tank or anything, because I really haven't wanted to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
No,
coming on
I
here
hear
is
you.
probably good.
I hear you. It is good, and it's one of those things that everybody can relate. Definitely. I mean, we have the hobby in common, and now we have this whole everything that's going on. There's it's pretty tough. I'm not a social person. I don't look to be social. We were driving home today. We had to take some groceries to my daughter and her husband because they were at their cottage for a couple of weeks. They got away before it all started. So they come back, and of course they got the baby, and they don't want to go to the grocery store, so they put in an order, and as soon as they can get anything is Tuesday, they can go pick it up. So we took some staples over to them. So we were coming back, and there's people in our town who are sitting in lawn chairs out in their driveway, 6 feet apart from each other with drinks, talking, yelling across the street. My husband's going, "Oh, we should do that," and I'm thinking, "Why would you do that?" But that's because I'm not a social person, and he said that's the difference, right? Social people need that interaction. So I mean, I get it. It's we lost CJ. Maybe he went to flip his camera around.
And I know exactly how you feel, and I mean,
Yeah.
working 21 days at home so far, I don't go in my dining room, which is my office.
Oh yeah.
On the weekends, or after hours, I won't go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to work from home, and you got to do that. You need the separation.
Yeah, you need to be able to get out. But I'll tell you, the weather's been nice though. So, I mean, being able to get out and ride my bike for a little bit, that definitely helped. Escape and break up the monotonous of being home. But just imagine doing this with no tank, with no hobby.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
No excuse not to have a well-maintained tank right now.
No, definitely not. Yeah, it's definitely not any excuse for anyone to not. But you know what? It's a fine line between well-maintained and now you have so much time to do too much fiddling and too much.
Yes, that's true. The old keep your hands out of the tank. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a double-edged sword. Always is.
Yeah.
Okay.
JV Gwaltney says, "Thank you, CJ, for the iMovie videos, the tutorial."
Oh, hey.
So,
awesome.
Yeah. I've told a lot of people about those because that series is the definitive tutorial series if you want to know how to create a video just with your cell phone.
That series is like probably 4.5 years old now, I think.
I know.
I went back and looked at some of it a while ago, and I was like, man, I look younger. I still have hair on my head.
You didn't have all the stress of the reefing.
Yeah, I didn't have all the stress of reefing on me now. Like it was, man, I was totally different back then. I almost want to remake it just for fun and. But yeah, so I'm glad. Hey, but I'm glad it helped, and hopefully, You have people understand you don't need expensive stuff to document
Nope.
and have fun. So,
Nope.
but you know, it's a whole nother hobby in itself.
It's true. It is. And you know the things that you learn, and I think one thing I learned from you, it's been probably over a year now. You were talking about how to take a time. I can't remember what it actually was, but if you wanted to cut down and you didn't do a time lapse and you wanted to cut down a video, you can only speed it up so fast, and I think twice as fast is all you can do in one go. So what you do is you take the clip, you make it twice as fast, you export it, you import it, you make it, and I did that with all of my time lapses for my Aquachar video, and
That's awesome.
it was confusing as hell trying to remember what was what, but boy oh boy did it ever do the trick. I turned a 24-hour 30-minute time lapse into under a minute. It was awesome.
That's awesome. How many times you
showing
export it to get it down that how many times you export it? Like 5?
I think it was 5. It was 5 times, and then the final was another reduction within the video that I just left. I didn't have to export it again. But I mean, you're looking at pH readings bouncing around all over the place, and there had to be a way to get it to show, you know, what the ranges were, high to low, and that's essentially what I was looking for. But it was you that put that idea in my head, and I went, oh, this is what I can do.
There you go. It's the little it's the little hacks and tweaks that you learn along the way. That you know.
That iMovie's powerful. It is a really powerful. It has its limitations. I wish there were more styles of titles and things like that. But
yes, I wish they would come back. They haven't done an update or revision to that app in years. No, which is a shame. But but hey, it is what it is. I'm still running my iPhone 8s Plus. I don't even have a new iPhone.
Oh, is that right?
I'm still running the old one.
Yeah.
So,
I got the XS Max with 512 gigs, and it's almost full again for, I don't know. Well, this is about the 4th time I've had to go in and delete stuff. Because, well, you put something on Instagram, and it copies it.
Yes.
So you have 2 versions of it, sometimes 3. And iMovie is the same thing. There's a copy of it somewhere.
Yep.
Like a redundant copy. So
especially on the cloud and all that stuff too. So
yeah.
You'll find a lot of it. It's good keeping those clips for flashbacks and all that kind of stuff when you want to compare and all of that. But it's hard deciding what to delete when you need to make room. It's like what can you let go of?
It's true. Well, and sometimes I'll take 12 or 13 minutes of video, like just set the camera on a tripod, and I'll watch it back, and there'll be like 6 seconds that's 9 minutes in that I want.
Right.
But you have to watch the whole thing to find it.
Yep.
And if you don't flag it somehow or put it in a fold, you know what I mean? Yep. You're not going to watch that whole 12 minutes again when you're going through and trying to clean stuff out. So you just discard it or delete it, and then you need that 6 seconds again, and you can't find it because you took it away. So it's
the situations like that. I found myself cropping out that part of the video, and then exporting it to its own clip, and then deleting the original. Yeah. So I've had to do that a few times just for space purposes because I don't have that much room.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much. Anyone that is watching it, you know, if they have questions or anything like that as far as editing, feel free to shoot them out. I'll tell you what I know.
Because there's and there's little tricks that it's impossible to list everything that you learn, like little things about manipulating sound and how you can detach the audio and move it and things like that you just learn as you go through when you think, I wonder.
It's been something I wanted to do on there that I haven't done, and overlay my voice on my voiceovers. That's something I wanted to do one time. I was going to do a whole singing thing, like a song, and have background voice of myself. I had this idea of something crazy, but it didn't come around. But yeah, I mean, just even simple stuff like how you line up your full tank shot. That's something I'll just speak real quick. I can't see it really on this camera, but like when people do full tank shots, a lot of them want to stand up and look at the tank like this, You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, you want to do it eye level, and what I do is use the margins of the camera on the left and right, and
Yep.
line that up to
Mm-hmm.
where you get a full square focus shot of your tank. And I also use the water line to make sure I'm not
Yep.
crooked. Like right now, I'm crooked. Like make sure the water line is square. So basically, just square your entire frame like that. And
Yep.
some tanks it's easier than others to get the whole picture. Like Alex's tank is too big, so the only
Yep.
way he can do it is if he backs up really really far. So he's never going to be able to get that full tank shot to
Yep.
take the whole screen. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it doesn't translate well with the short tank, unfortunately.
right, the long tank it doesn't. So, and to be honest, that's also something I consider when I go to get a tank. Believe it or not, when you film your tank enough and you make enough videos and all of that, it almost impacts you purchasing tanks and what you're going to do as well, because you know you're
I
going to want to
agree.
film it. You know you're going
Yep.
to want to film it. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
why get a tank that doesn't fit my camera screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
not going to
exactly.
say what I'm going to do next.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's. I
Uh-oh.
mean, I've had to change the footprint of the tank I'm planning when we move, because originally I wanted 84 wide by, I think, 36 front to back by 24 deep. I want 300 gallons.
Mhm.
But the room I'm going to put it in, I don't really have room for a 7-foot tank. Ideally I'd want 8 feet so that I could get some of the bigger fish, but no room for that. No room for 7. So now I'm going with the 6-foot by 42 inches front to back by 24 deep. I think that's 314 gallons. And the beauty of it is you get that 6-foot width. So the proportions of it are such that you stand a chance of being able to get a decent full tank shot.
Mhm.
And I don't know how the depth is going to show up, because that's the one thing I find really difficult, is to get the 3-dimensional aspect of it, to get a
Yeah.
real sense of front to back,
Yeah, my first time experiencing that was with my 120 gallon, because it had that 2
Yeah.
feet of depth. So yeah, it's interesting. Well, you know what? That's when your aquascaping and your angles and all of that's going to come into play. So
Oh yeah.
and your tank placement, making sure when you place it, you actually have a way to access side views of it. You know.
Yep. Yep, exactly. And that's going to be a problem too, because I only will have 2 feet from the tank to the wall on the sides.
Right.
So it's probably going to be terraced back to front, and the
Mhm.
side views will be angles, so that I won't necessarily have, I don't know how to describe this, but the rocks at the back will probably be closer to the water surface than the rocks at the front.
Right.
And so the side views will be much like what I have now, which is high at the back with a big triangular open space for swimming. So we'll
Gotcha.
see. It may not work out.
Yeah. Well,
But
hey, that's where experience comes in. At least you understand what works and what
Yeah.
doesn't. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah. So that's definitely good. I pulled up the chat and now I can't get it off my screen. So it's like over top of you all. Last time I was here, I tried to hit X and it closed me out of the.
Oh
of the
dear.
thing. Let me see if it'll do it again. Hopefully not. Let me see if I can get out.
Hey, Bronx Reefer
Oh,
Brock.
wait a minute. Okay, good. Okay.
There,
Good.
there. Oh, you stayed in. Good. Awesome.
All right.
Look at these beautiful tanks. I'm sitting here looking at this coral right above my finger. This yellow and pink and red. I have not noticed it in that photograph before. I'm gonna have to take a closer look at it. That's one they called Narnia in the fish store, and it is actually yellow, but the base is like a plum color.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Anyway.
noticed. This is my first time having acros this long, and it's very interesting the color changes on them. How a lot of them turn to green on me.
Yep.
And I did some
Yep, I've been
reading
through
and
that.
stuff. Someone said something about not being enough light, so I actually have my lights running. I've worked them up slowly. I'm up to 80% intensity right now, on the way to 100.
Wow.
So I'm almost
Wow,
running these lights at full power.
How high off the water are they?
About 13 inches right now.
Yeah.
about 10, it'll probably be a little better, but the spread isn't as good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like once I get a third Radion, which is probably what I'm gonna do, is grab a third Gen 4 again because I had 3 in the beginning. I should have kept
I
it.
remember.
Yeah, I should have kept it. I was like, I'm not gonna need that third light. 2 of them will be enough. It'll be fine. You know, I want to ride my bike. Let me go ahead and sell that light and go give me some fresh set of tires from a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I did, and now I'm gonna turn right back around and get another one. So.
Yeah, that's another thing you learn as you get on in the hobby is things you should keep because you never know when you're going to use them and they'll cost you more to replace.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I get it. I don't sell much of my stuff only because there doesn't really seem to be that great market for used stuff around here.
Really?
Every once in a while you can move an entire, like I sold my entire Nano, 20-gallon Nano with the sump. I sold everything together as a set. And I still have heard once in a while from the person who bought it. And but it's hard to sell reef stuff. I don't know if it's because there aren't many of us around where I live, maybe. I don't know.
Usually to sell reef stuff, you got to do it in pieces. You got to break it down part by part and all that. But
yeah.
But that light, I saw that radio. That sucker sold within 24 hours. Within 12 hours, someone was like, "I want it." They drove from an hour away to come pick it up.
Yeah.
But the good news is the Gen 5s came out, so that was the best news I could ever have because I should be able to find the Gen 4s for cheap now. So
that's true.
I would hope, $200, $250 max, to be able to find one. So.
And those are the 15s? Sorry?
Yes.
I might do the same thing and try to get some more Gen 4s in the near future.
Mm-hmm. It's the time, man. The market was probably flooded with them. We probably missed that initial wave of people selling them off.
Yeah, it's such a hard thing though, because it's when things are going well, I tend to go, do I really want to start messing with stuff? Because if things are happy,
right? Why put another light on and potentially throw off everything? Have to retune your calcium reactor and redo your consumption.
Yeah, I mean my reactor's finally stabilized.
Right. Look at the Flame Angel. Flame Angel's picking out my. Yeah, you guys are gonna witness a live eviction here soon. Flame Angel.
Evil. Awesome. We get to watch CJ the Fish Whisperer.
He's gonna go. Now he has to go. My clam has been not really opening much. I've literally watched him work or swim around. He pecks at every piece of SPS coral I have. He's not purposely munching down on it, but there he is. He's pecking at my brand new Pectinia, chalice. There he is. So. Yep, he's gone. Anybody need a Flame Angel? This dude's gone.
I already got one.
Yep. Tristan wants one. He says he's single-handedly killed off most of the available ones in his area because he just can't keep them alive.
Wow.
So, is he? Well, he's in. I don't think he's near you though.
Nope, I don't think he is. But you know what? Hey. If anyone is local, yeah, that sucker, he's about to go. I've been thinking about it, and now I just really got motivation because I just watched him pick at 5 different pieces of SPS the whole time.
Oh boy, so, that's not good.
Yep, there he is.
Yeah, I would be terrified to put an angel in my reef tank.
Well, I mean, other than reef safe, the Genacanthus male and female that I have, I absolutely love those fish. The male has the most amazing streamers now on his tail, and he's constantly got scuff marks on him, and this is one of the reasons I think that they're getting too big for the tank and the coral growth, because he's got scuff marks all over him from dodging behind the rocks when him and the female go all crazy every night as the lights ramp down, and they dart in and out of the rocks, and I'm sure he's brushing against things because he's getting so big.
Yeah, I guess people really don't think about that part of it.
No.
Eventually, are your fish going to be, swimming through barbed wire?
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. That's why I can't have bird's nest anymore, because they're like little needles, and they can seriously hurt themselves.
Yeah. It makes you wonder. Oh man. Let's see. But yeah, other than that,
Yeah, I think that's why I like
everyone
to
else is doing good.
keep a lot of open swimming space now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this has motivated me to do an update. I think it's time for me to do another update video. Time to do a water change and make sure everything is good. But I mean, it's at the point now, like Alex said. I mean, if everything's working, you don't really want to mess with it.
Yeah. Well, I am going to be checking my par this week. So there.
There you go. There you
Because
go.
I've owned a par sensor for 2 years now, and I still have the zip tie on the coil of cable that's in the
Oh, really?
box. Uh-huh. Yeah, I didn't get the meter, I just got the sensor, and what you do is download the software onto a laptop, and I hate my laptop, so it's like a mental block for me, but I'm just gonna have to do it. But this is the same, it's an Apogee that was manufactured for a company called Biotech.
Okay.
And so anyway, I'm going to measure the par because I've got the 90 gallon that's fully cycled. And I took Molly's over today and put them in. That's another reason I went over to my daughter's, was to go in the fish room there that she's allocated to me. It's in a different part of their house that used to be a doctor's office, so there's separate rooms. And yep, the Molly's are in there, and the 90 is cycled, so I want to match up the par between what I have on the current tank and the Luxbird Chinese black boxes that I have hanging over that tank.
There
So
you go.
that's a good motivation to finally get that par thing out and get things figured out. Because the last thing I want to do is start breaking apart my aquascape and moving it in sections and finding out that I'm either burning everything or it's just not going to survive.
Yeah, burning things is very dangerous. That's how I lost the 2 corals in here when I was doing my par test and burned them and
Yeah.
lost them. So yeah, sounds like you got the right application for it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I got an Apogee, and it's pretty simple to use. So the software doesn't take a whole lot of memory or anything on the computer to run.
Oh, it's just me. I used to be an early adopter, but I had so many frustrations with stuff that just didn't work. It wasn't ready, and so it always concerns me when I have to learn something new. Not that I can't do it. If it doesn't work from the beginning, I just find it frustrating.
It's just another level of just knowing your system and your tank
Yeah.
and understanding where the reflection spots are, because I think that's the biggest thing your eyes won't tell you.
Nope.
Those secret spots in the back of the tank are on the sand bed that are
Yep.
way more than you think. But
Yeah, and I have the Orfex, and I can get par maps that will show me if they're X number of inches off the water,
right.
what the par should be in certain positions as they penetrate into the tank. Like I could probably get that information.
Yeah,
because they're on or off, they don't dim. So
right. Well, that'll be helpful for that, but those par charts will never give you the reflection of your glass.
No.
That's the part that only a test will have. Only a part meter will have.
Yeah. Well, plus the other tank, the rocks and the sand are pure white. The rocks are only there as placeholders so that when I remove them, I can put my current aquascape directly on the bottom of the tank so that I'm not putting it on top of sand.
Right.
And so I want to know what the par is in my current tank before I move that stuff so that I can try and get those other lights set up properly. Because I don't think I can hang my current lights in the situation with the 90 gallon because I can't hang anything from the ceiling, and it's not my house. So anyway, we'll figure it out.
Are you gonna be able to get, with how everything's shut down right now, is that gonna impact you being able to get all your supplies and everything you need to set this up? Or does it seem like the fish market, the fish industry, reef hobby has not really been impacted? It seems like everybody's still shipping stuff.
Yeah, this is it. the local fish store, they had to change their policy today because there's been a further shutdown,
Right.
and they can't have anybody in the store. You have to wait outside, tell them what you want, they will go get it, bring it out, you pay,
Yes.
right? So, and that's fine. But most stuff that I have, I don't know, I'm a borderline hoarder. I mean, I could probably supply carbon to everybody on the live stream here tonight for like 2 months. Like, you know, I just, and I think it's because
pounds of it.
yeah, I forget I have it. So anyway, I haven't run into anything yet that I can't get.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
so we'll see. I guess as time goes by. I mean, the thing is cycled. There's sand in it. There's rocks. I've got odd little bits and pieces of equipment, and it's just a matter of me getting up my nerve to start moving coral that I have on the sand bed right now,
Right.
and putting it over there. You know, but the longer I can wait, the more mature that system
Right.
is going to be. It's a canister filter full of media,
Right.
and you know,
Well,
we'll
you
see.
know exactly what you're doing. So that's the great thing about it.
I don't know. I hope so. Well,
You're
I'm
taking
now
your
trying.
time. That's what matters.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this is it. And the other thing I was thinking, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to ask you guys if you think this is a good idea. I have a sump right now that has lots of really high quality biomedia that's well seasoned and healthy. It also has a giant ball of Kato. The other tank doesn't have a sump. I have no way of keeping that stuff. So here's what I was thinking of doing. Taking the sump contents and transferring them to some sort of a Rubbermaid tote, hang a light over it, and just run it as a separate system so that I can keep that media alive. I don't know whether I would have to feed it or, but you know what I mean? Like keep the bacteria alive, keep the media alive.
You're talking about for the taking it over to the 90 gallon and housing it in a separate tote?
Yeah, and not necessarily joining them together because I can't drill the 90. I mean, it was a freshwater tank. We didn't drill it. It doesn't have a sump. It just has a canister filter. But I was
So
trying to think of a way to set it up so that I could run the water through the canister filter from one to the other. I think that's like a crazy idea. I don't know if I could even think about doing it.
I would think probably something that you could go the route of is I would just put the media in the tank itself.
Yeah.
Along with the Chaeto. Maybe get a little piece of egg crate or something to kind of, contain the Chaeto or some of the media, and then just have a pump blow water at it so it's got good flow. And, since that 90 is still kind of cycling and you haven't moved anything to it yet, that shouldn't shock that system a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But then you don't have to try and manage anything there because it is just a temporary setup. So
yeah. Well, the only issue is that you've seen how full my tank is. The picture behind me, that's just the acros in the middle. I have thought about that. I don't know where I'd have the footprint, the space to keep the stuff. Just because the rocks, and the coral that I have, I could probably do it if I split the media up into media bags and stashed it everywhere. But then I would probably have to hang it from the rim of the tank so that it wasn't on the bottom. So I don't know, that might be something I could do.
Yeah.
It's worth thinking about. I just don't have the floor space to section off part of it because it's 48 by, I believe it's 18 front to back, and my current tank is like 22 or 23 front to back.
yeah, you definitely want to keep it to having some kind of bioload on it as you transfer things because if it gets moved to something smaller, the bacteria and anything in there are going to adjust to the capacity that's necessary there for things to kind of function.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get die off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, an option might be too is if you can't use all the media, is just take a handful of it or a bit of it and just not use it and dry it out, and you could reclaim it later.
Yeah. Well, I already did move some of it into the canister when I started the cycle because I had some in a separate bag. So I took that and emptied it out into the canister. So at least some of it from there went into it. I might even have room in the filter. There might be some space in there that I could still.
I was gonna say, do you have any
Put stuff in.
spare hang on the back filters?
Hey, I'm getting ready to. I gotta hop out. So make sure.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for having me on. You guys have a fantastic night and weekend. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
You too,
Yeah,
CJ.
you
It's
too.
good talking to you.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks for coming in, CJ. And we look forward to a video of you catching that angelfish.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Already. Awesome. Thanks for coming by. Awesome. It's always awesome to see CJ, see what he's up to. Marcus's
yeah.
Reef said would be good to see an update. Always see the live stream notifications, but they're always deleted. And he's at work. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, so it's a dilemma for me. And I know exactly what you mean about maintaining a bio load running through the media, because that's the only problem with separating it out is how do I feed it to maintain it.
The other thing you got too is that if you're gonna do that before you move everything, you could always move it over to that tank, or at least parts of it over there, and then when you go to do the bigger move of things, you can make some decisions then on whether or not you're gonna have space.
Mm-hmm. Well, the nice thing is that I don't have to completely take it. I don't have to lose the tank and the contents, in the sense of most people when they move would have to move the entire tank, but I don't have to. I'm transferring it, and I guess if necessary, we could do a 1-day extravaganza where once my tank is empty, we move the whole thing, set it up at my daughter's place, and then move everything back in while I wait for the house to be finished and order the new tank and all that kind of stuff. So, that's the other option. So essentially put everything in my reef into a tank temporarily, then take the current tank down, move it so that I can maintain all the stuff in the sump, and then move everything back in. So I don't know.
How far is that temp transfer, like drive distance and stuff?
It's 45 minutes.
It's not too bad. So figure
Yeah.
hour and a half round trip. I mean, I've had to move, several tanks, and basically it's I would estimate your main tank's a 90.
Yeah. No, my main, it's 88.
88.
Close enough. Yeah.
So I would figure have about at least 12 hours lined up for the move.
Yeah.
Just because nothing ever goes according to plan.
Well, my thinking was because I put everything together in pieces, I'm going to break it apart in pieces. And I know that means that I'll probably lose a few things that are bridging the seams.
Yeah.
But if I can take, for example, the two branches off the front on the right side and the little cave at the back and move that assembly and put it in the new tank, and then wait a week, and then take the left hand side apart and then wait a week, and at that point move the fish, and then my center structure that all these acroporas are on is in two separate halves, and then I could move those. I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing with moving parts of the aquascape, and this is just a experience I had my last tank teardown, is I had removed a lot of the aquascape, and a whole lot of aggression came out of certain fish that had lost their
Oh,
territory, and they
yeah,
suddenly
that's
had
true.
less space to fight. And if they're there, I mean, I only did it for a day, and like I had a few casualties from it. I was surprised at, and it's never an easy thing to do though. But since you have a tank set up there already,
Yeah.
you could try to move out a lot of the corals, and
Mhm.
that might be the strategy I would pick. Would be load up all the corals you can, and if you're gonna house some of the fish there, you can move a couple over if you can grab them, or like maybe they're hiding in a rock. You know, just pick the whole rock up, put it in a bucket, and
Yeah.
they're caught.
Yep. Yep.
Then send somebody, because I know it's you and your husband will probably be doing it. Is if he can put stuff away, or well, you could do it either way. Is one person goes and takes a load of stuff over there and starts putting it away, while the other person stays behind and keeps breaking the tank down, so that when they come back, you can hopefully have like another load of stuff ready for them to go.
Mhm. Yeah, I
And
guess
then
the other thing I could do is plan to remove, because I only have 11 or 12 fish, depending on whether the gobies are still alive. What I could probably do is get a bunch of 5-gallon pails and separate them, and because I've got all of the air stones and the pumps, and I've got those battery pumps, and move the fish and keep them in the separate pails until I can get the contents of the tank moved and set up. Even if that was a day or so, as long as I could aerate the water and maintain the temperature. Yeah, a lot of planning here. I have to do some more research into it.
yeah, that's definitely a good way to go. Is just have buckets ready and all the aeration and heating, and that's a lot of times when I used to do moves, it would be just try to tear it down as quick as you can,
Right.
and because a lot of the moves I did, we never had a second tank ready. It was always we have to move the tank that everything's in
That
now.
tank. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you having a tank set up already, it might be better off to try and move a lot of the easy stuff over a day
Mhm.
or two in advance.
Well, that had been my idea, was
Yeah.
everything that's loose on the sand bed, and even some of the colonies, like my candy cane corals. I have 2 colonies. I could probably snap them off where they are and
Yeah,
move them to
I would
another.
frag up a few things and
Yeah.
get them prepped, and then move
Yeah.
all that stuff. You can move some of the rock,
Yeah.
and then yeah, just get all the fish and stuff loaded up, and then break the tank down. You could always, because you have that setup, you could always get the fish into that tank over
Mhm.
there if you had to.
Yeah.
Um, and then I always get nervous at the bucket thing. Like I usually we just leave everybody in buckets and keep an eye on them while we're moving.
Yeah.
But beyond a few hours, if you already have that other tank set up, I would probably just get them into that,
Yeah.
because it just takes away a little bit of the pressure on trying to keep each 5-gallon bucket going and
Yep.
oxygen going well, and
Very true.
just be prepared for a
Yeah.
really, really long day.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and I don't even mind the idea of taking all the loose stuff off of the sand and putting that in a, pseudo frag tank with the proper light over it and just keeping that alive. Because coral in a bucket with the right light and flow and whatever you need just to keep it going is a lot easier to keep alive, I think, than the fish if
Yeah,
you have to
you're
keep it for a
definitely a
little
lot.
while.
You definitely got a little bit more wiggle room with that.
Yeah. And if you can make sure you're not going to cook them with the light or the temperature, like the conditions have to be right. Water's not a problem. You just take the water from the tank. So that, I don't know, that might be something I'll consider, because I'm really concerned about, the thing is, this 90, well, you know, a standard 90, it's deep, so it's not very, like, it's deep top to bottom. It's about 2 inches deeper than the tank I have now, maybe even 3. I can't reach the bottom. So it's
Yeah.
probably 27, 26, maybe it's 26. Anyway, it's deeper, so it has less of a footprint. It doesn't have an overflow in the middle. So I know how I can situate my other rocks so that it saves some space, but I'm not going to know till I do it. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's always the most difficult part of any move, is just the unknowing things, the plumbing,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a good one. You know, the bulkhead that you can't get it off and you have no choice but to cut it, and you don't have a spare.
Yeah.
So you have to
Exactly.
try and wrangle. You know, it's those little things. Having some extra plumbing supplies, some extra tools on hand.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yep.
because, yeah, it's always those unexpected things that's what really takes the time, because the moving of the stuff's the easy part. It's just all that getting it ready and getting it loaded up.
Yeah. Well, we do have a guy that we can hire to do it, that's his business. But, you know, who knows with this whole virus thing how long it's going to last, and how much of this we can't move the tank ourselves. It's too
Yeah.
heavy. So at some point we are going to have somebody in to do it. So, you know, the more I can move before that happens, the better. But we don't even know what the time frame's going to be for that, based on, you know, this whole virus thing, when it's going to be safe. So.
No, I would say, though, if you can move everything that you can over slowly over time, that's the best way to do it.
Yep. That had been my plan, and to be prepared to lose my colonies that I've been growing for the last. You know, what do? You start over, right? In a lot of ways.
Yeah, I've already kind of, at the point that I'm going to move either to a new house, or if I relocate for a job again in the future, it's going to be anything that's big colonies. I'm just going to break it up, give some away to people I know, keep a few pieces myself, and then just start it over.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the flow is never going to be the same. The lighting's never going to be exactly the same. And, you know, sometimes that's why colonies fail when they get relocated. It's just the conditions. It grew to the conditions it was happy in. And, you know, it's just not the same.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. Well, and I figure I've shown myself that I can do it once, actually a couple times, but this time finally things really started to take off. So I know so much more now than I did even a year ago, so we'll see. It's kind of, all I can do is be optimistic and hope that I, you know, don't make any stupid mistakes. And yeah, it takes a couple years.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a few things that happen, but accepting that up front, which it sounds like you've already kind of done, that helps.
Yeah. Don't you think it helps to have gone through a couple of crashes, and you know how it feels to lose stuff, but then come back, so you know that you can come back. So I think that part of it really, really helps me psychologically prepare for the losses that I'll probably have. So, you know,
yeah, that's,
you
my
never
wife
want to be
always looks
casual.
at it and says, "How are we ever going to move this?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, I have a plan already."
Yeah. Well, you can never be casual about losing the lives, but you can do everything you can to try and make it work.
Yeah.
So,
Well, my big thing is, you know, the corals, I think, are the easy part. It's the fish that I get more concerned about. You know, like I don't want to I wouldn't really want to give away my puffers or some of the fish I've had a long time, and but it could be a difficult choice depending on the move distance and what's involved.
Yeah.
Or,
Well, plus
you know,
some fish are so hard to get. I mean, the pair of Diacanthus angels I have.
yeah,
Or, no, it's not Diacanthus. Sorry, Genacanthus.
yeah,
I saw
Genacanthus, yeah.
Diacanthus. Diacanthus angels. Genacanthus angels. I mean, if you try and buy a male and female pair of those now, you can't find them. You can find a female. You can find someone that has 3 females, but the males are few and far between. And to find a male and female is really, you really have to look and be prepared to pay. And
Yeah,
they're going to be hard to replace if something happens to them.
I'm sure we'll get through it though. Sounds like you got a pretty good plan in place.
I hope so.
Well, the fact that you got a tank on standby for the temp move is far beyond what a lot of people have ready.
Yeah.
Because they got to move the tank they have. They don't have anything else to.
Yeah,
set
exactly. Up. Oh, we got Reef to Reef in here. Ooh, reefing on a Saturday night. Oh yeah. We're stuck inside. This is what we got to do. Now, these live streams, I've really looked forward to them. And, you know, I have to say thank you to everybody for coming in and participating. And Alex, like, for being so interesting all the time. It's, it really makes me look forward to this and enjoy it. And it's way outside my comfort zone, but it's been worth doing, I think.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that I've been able to be a part of it in the community.
Yeah. Yep. And on that note, it's 20 after 11, so Reef to Reef, unfortunately, right in at the end, but the replay will be up. You can pick it up if you like. And thanks to everyone for coming in tonight. And it's going to be interesting to see how all of this lockdown stuff plays out, but we still got our reef tanks, and we can devote ourselves to that, and they'll be the better for it, I think. I hope.
Yeah, we'll all get through it. We just gotta give it time.
Yep, that's for sure. All right. Well, I'm going to say good night, everybody, and thanks again for coming in, and thank you, Alex, and
thank you,
to
ReefGrrl.
John.
Pleasure as always.
Yep, and CJ for coming by, and Blue Carbon Reefing. And we will see you next week. All right. Good night, all.
Good night. Thank you.
Well, now, thanks so much to everyone who came along tonight, in the studio, in the chat, and watching. And to those of you who are watching the replay, thank you too for sticking around to the end. I hope you'll join me for next week's live stream, Saturday night, April 11th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Stay safe, everybody.